When you're out on your motorcycle, do you ever get the feeling that everyone on the road is either drunk or texting? Or both? Yeah, me too. You know, I've noticed kind of an uptick in comments on my channel recently, with people saying something to the effect of, I'd love to either start riding or take up riding again, but the roads are just too damn dangerous right now. There's too many people either texting while they're driving or drunk off their ass or whatever, and it just doesn't feel safe. Unfortunately, there's a lot of truth to that. The number of distractions drivers have these days has gone up a lot since back in the day. We've got cell phones, we've got giant computer screens on the dashboard now. We've got 16,000 different types of automated alerts to tell you that you're veering off in the wrong direction or whatever. There's like 1,000 things that take a driver's attention away from the road. Add into that alcohol and legalized pot and all this stuff. And yeah, the roads have become quite a dangerous place to ride a motorcycle. The sad reality of everything is, I have friends that I know have been in accidents due to drunk drivers on motorcycles and in cars, and I have personally been in at least 2 accidents, very minor, but still, with people texting and hitting me from behind in cars. Never on a motorcycle, but of all the accidents that I've ever had in a car, almost every one of them involved someone texting and driving. There was one time a firefighter hit me because he was looking at a woman across the street, and he begged me not to file an insurance claim because he didn't want his wife to find out. He ended up renting me a Miata to replace my damaged car while it was getting fixed, so that all worked out quite well for me. Anyway, I always feel a little sad when I get those messages from people saying that it's too dangerous to ride these days. Because, for me anyway, what I always tell my friends and family when they tell me riding motorcycles is too dangerous, I always tell them, listen, for me, not riding motorcycles is way more dangerous than riding motorcycles. You know the old funny saying that, keeps me out of trouble, it keeps me off the streets. Well, being on the streets, being on my motorcycle, keeps me out of trouble. When I'm bored and have nothing to do and lack something that I'm passionate about in my life, that's when, some self-destructive behaviors can sort of manifest. Those can range from, sitting on the couch, binge watching television, and binge eating pizza, to more destructive behaviors like drinking or whatever. For me, and speaking for myself, of course, the benefits of riding far outweigh the risk. One time I remember talking to a doctor, and she was telling me how dangerous motorcycling is and how many patients she saw come through the ER during her residency or whatever doctors do in the ER. And she had me, thinking about it a little bit. But then I asked her, what are you doing next weekend anyway? And she said, I'm taking the kids and we're going skiing. And I said to myself, you're about to throw yourself down a mountain on 2 sticks with your kids next to you, going God knows how fast, because I don't know how fast you go when you go skiing, but I'm guessing it's fast. And you're lecturing me about danger. Danger's all relative, and danger is one of the things that makes motorcycling so exciting. Same with skiing, I guess. When I'm out on the road, this is how I cope with the idea that motorcycling is too dangerous, from the standpoint that there's too much texting and too much drunk driving these days. When I'm on the road, I actually just imagine that everyone around me is actually drunk or texting. Or hell, both. Who knows? That guy right there, whether or not he or she is drunk and or texting, in my mind that person is drunk and texting, and I'm going to react appropriately. I'm going to be very vigilant around that person regardless of who they are and what they're doing, because I'm just going to assume that they're texting. For me, there is no greater irritant in the entire world than passing someone and looking through their window and seeing them on their phone texting. It drives me absolutely bananas. It puts me into a rage, and it's everything I can do not to take some sort of action. Luckily, I have my anger in check for the most part, so I can usually just drive by and move on. I might give a little wave, "Hi, get off the phone," but it usually doesn't go any further than that. But I imagine that person texting slamming their car into one of my friends, and that's when the rage boils over. Anyway, like I said, when I'm out on my motorcycle, every single driver on the road is either drunk or texting. Now, you might say that's kind of extreme, but every day, regardless usually of the weather, of just about anything, I'll hop on my motorcycle and I'll take a little ride over to the Columbia River. It's about 10 minutes from my house. It's a half an hour round trip almost exactly, because I usually stop and look at the fish or whatever I look at. Every day, every single day, I encounter at least one texter. I either pull up to him at a light, or worse, and this is what drives me absolutely bananas, is I get stuck behind them at a light, the light turns green, and they sit there for 30 seconds texting. Now, I'm not much of an aggressive person, so it takes a lot for me, usually, to get me to beep. But I only have patience for that for about 4 or 5 seconds, and that's when I lay on the horn. And the funny thing is, once they realize the lights turn green, there's a dude behind them honking, and it's their turn to go, and they've neglected their responsibility to drive, they speed off, almost in anger, like I'm the asshole for pointing out that they were sitting there texting instead of paying attention to the light. I don't know, man. It just... it drives me absolutely batshit. Anyway, my point here is 2 things. 1, when you're on the road, definitely consider entering into a mindset that everyone around you, no matter what, I don't care if it's your mother, Mother Teresa, whoever, they're drunk and texting at the same time, and you need to react and respond appropriately. The second thing, just as important, is this. Life is too short. Life involves risks, unless you're sitting on the couch doing nothing, in which case you increase your risks of heart disease and all that shit. Life involves risks. It's bad out on these roads, there's no doubt, but it's not as bad as you might think. As long as you keep your wits about you, and you just imagine that no one is paying attention, they're also drunk, and you're completely invisible, you can adapt your riding style to sort of accommodate that. And at first it's not fun, because you end up obsessing about it and all that stuff, but after a while it becomes second nature. I barely even think about it, even though I have this ethos that everyone's drunk and texting. It's not like I'm sitting here thinking about it the whole time I'm riding. It's just something that I have in the back of my head. It's something that I remind myself of from time to time, and usually someone else reminds me of it before I have a chance to forget. Manage the risks, and if you're like me, motorcycling is too important a part of your life to give up just because people are ignorant and inconsiderate, and to a certain point, dangerous. It's not going to get any better. Soon, there's going to be more self-driving cars than not self-driving cars, and we're all going to be at the mercy to Elon Musk's 17-year-old computer programmers to make sure that these Tesla things don't become motorcycle missiles. Well, it's not going to get any better, so at the very least, get out there now before it gets much worse. I'll catch you on the next one.